All right, welcome to Pass the Mic. It is Friday, January 23rd, 2026, episode 193. Mike Gervasi, how are you?
Word up. How you doing?
Good. It's supposed to be very cold as I predict the future on the day that this podcast comes out. It might be a day off. I don't know.
I just got done shoveling snow. This is this lovely winter, and this is that moment in the winter where there's like no end in sight, right?
Oh,
And
no, the next 10 days, nothing. I mean, I took the dog for a walk today. We're recording on the 21st. It's actually in the 30s today, balmy. And
balmy 30s, yeah.
I took the dog for a walk because it does not look good for the next 10 days, and a big storm brewing hopefully stays to the south of us. If it wants to be cold, that's fine. I just don't want to deal with a ton of snow. Feedback and errors from last week. I made a mistake talking about Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator who interviewed with the Lions. He's not really the Arthur Blank of the Falcons. His father, though, probably more money. I don't know, though. I don't know. We have to look that up. The founder and CEO of FedEx.
Yeah, that's close. I wouldn't even venture to guess who has more money on
I'm going to
those
look
two
it up.
guys.
I'm going to look it up this week and see who's worth more, Arthur Smith or Arthur Blank. Not Arthur Smith, Arthur Smith's dad or Arthur Blank. But in any case, I messed up with that. And then as Max Bailey pointed out, I don't know if it was coming from him or his brother. We did a little singing for the first time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Dust in the Wind. I misnamed the artist.
Horrible.
I said America, Sister Golden Hair Goodbye, and it was actually Kansas that sings Dust in the Wind.
You know who else sang Dust in the Wind?
Who's that?
You're my boy Blue, Will Ferrell, and
Oh yeah.
Old School.
Who do you like better, America or Kansas? America has more hits.
Kansas had two big songs, right? And they're both pretty
Carry
deep.
On My Wayward Son, was that
Yeah,
Kansas?
I'd probably them. What about Boston? Boston's another one of those
I think
geographical
America
groups.
is better than Kansas, but that's just me.
Hey, sing an America song before we go any further.
Well, I keep on going, my sister golden hair surprised. That's one of my favorite America songs.
I really didn't even think you were going to sing it. I'm surprised you did that. But
I'm trying to think if what another America song is. I don't know. I will have to. Max is probably gonna be angry because we haven't sang in weeks. So another error, we sort of froze. But I want to give a shout out to Steve Trousel. Happy birthday just the other day on the 20th, just yesterday. And when I did the famous Facebook happy birthdays, and you know what he said? Best podcast host in the country. I'm like,
he must not have heard last week, right?
Last week's episode.
And look, to be fair, man, we get so many people, and we just both had that brain.
Well, in
meltdown.
all honesty, too, like when we talk about shows, we've repeated hot mics, we've repeated overrated, underrated. I have a list of them.
Yeah.
Still no excuse as we make excuses. But and then the Ren Dog thought he caught us on an air and said we dropped the ball and didn't have a mic. We did have a mic. I called it out. I said I was re-miking Mike Tomlin in honor of him. And the more and more I hear, he's not coaching anymore, that this is done. And interestingly, the top prospect in Pittsburgh Talk Radio Day, their version of Rico and Valeni, is another Mike.
I can't wait.
The former Cowboy Packer coach.
Oh, Mike McCarthy. We talked about this already.
Yes.
My bad. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, one more rodeo. I hope it's not him. That's just me. Do you got anything else?
Got plenty here. Let's start. First off, my hot mic is going to be not feedback, but a postscript to last week. I think the listeners are going to be interested in. That's what we in the biz call a teaser, by the way.
Okay, there we go.
Gary Bailey, gravy does not have to be made with pork, milk, gravy, red eye gravy, etc. Any fat is butter, beef rendering, schmaltz will work. Then he goes into, I got a little bit on my song choice. I first heard Bob Seger in high school, East Side Story, Noah Persecution Smith. Probably relate to UPMC the best. However, I might feel more with Mr. Sinatra when I was 17 than 21 than 35. Now in the autumn of my life, it was and is a very good year indeed. He had 2.5 inches of snow on the driveway. Salt trucks were out early. City of Taylor, by their own admission, mistakenly issued an alert. That was pretty funny. Everybody was sort of confused by that one.
Yeah, Taylor knocking everybody out there.
Yeah. My stepdad, Ken. Mike, you're good. Listen to the podcast. Good job. So I assume he's talking to me, but it could be you. You made me think of all the songs from the 60s and 70s that are super meaningful. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, Monster America by Steppenwolf, and Imagine by John Lennon. My mom jumped in and she said, "How about John Fogerty's Bad Moon Rising and Fortunate Son, and also Higher Ground by Stevie Wonder?" So she wanted to mention those songs. And then we got a little bit more input from Max today. Chad Putnam, coach of the Taylor High School varsity girls.
Yep.
His youngest son ranks and keeps track of all concession stand popcorn he gets at his older brother's basketball game.
Yep.
Carlson is his new number one, with North Farmington being number two.
There you hear that, Joe Burguy and Mr. Stoltz. Good news there.
Have you, Mike, been to North Farmington for this?
I have not been to North Farmington. The supposed Taj Mahal of concession stands that's made like Channel 7 News is Troy Athens High School. And we could have had a semifinal playoff game there a few years ago, but no, I have not. But that's what I hear. I haven't done a review in a while. Not to I almost started doing a book review on TikTok because I just haven't had anything good to eat.
Oh, cool. That's a great idea.
Well, my screen name is Mike the Librarian. I guess I should probably throw a book review in there every once in a while. And then and again, Max texted us today, and did you consider that info coming from his brother?
That's got to be. I mean, here's what he said: as maybe the entire southern audience of the Mics. Yes, so that's got to be his brother.
At least 70% of it.
Biscuits and gravy is gross, especially a fast food version. Homemade is barely edible. Agree with Peyote though. A good biscuit is amazing. Just don't cover it in.
But here's my question:
bleep gravy. Yeah.
And I maybe. Where does fast food biscuits and gravy exist?
I mean, I would think
maybe in the South. I can't think of anywhere in the North.
Todd, you got to let us know, man, because we don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, because I don't. I'm not sure. All right, I think that's it. I think we got everything covered. We're actually going to bridge into our education topic with feedback. So we got one last thing, but you got a Mike of the Week.
Yeah, so to go along with the football theme, we're going Mike Morris, Seattle Seahawks defensive lineman, 5th-round pick out of Michigan.
Not the lawyer.
Not the lawyer. No, and I think Mike Morris, lawyer, did
a commercial.
They did a commercial, yes, and that was when college athletes. I think that's when the whole floodgates started opening up, because before that you really didn't see that. I remember the quarterback Bryce Young doing a Dr. Pepper commercial around that time. So I think that, and now it's just like there's no rules anymore. So much so, real quick segue here for 1 second. Indiana, congrats on the national title. Older average age than the Green Bay Packers. So college sports is it's nothing like what we grew up with, for better or for worse. This is what it is. So good for them, though. Nice for them to win the national title. But Mike Morris, defensive lineman, Seattle Seahawks. Shout out to the Seahawks. We had another Seahawk, Mike McDonald, the coach, as a Mike recently, I think 2 weeks ago. So today it's Mike Morris.
Speaking of that, 2 Mikes coaching in the conference championship weekend.
Yeah. Who's the other Mike?
Mike Vrabel.
And Sean's on the other side.
I'm Team Mike in the NFC, Team Sean in the AFC.
Yeah, I guess I got to rethink. I'm going to go Sean in the.
That's who I want to win. That's not
okay. I did. I had Buffalo going, and we know how that ended. So
I don't really care about the Rams as far as the team. I just want them to be done so the Steelers can interview Shula, their defensive coordinator, and the other coaches that are there. Nothing to do with. I'm not a Stafford hater or anything like that, like some people around here can be.
Or lover, by the way, or Stafford lover.
Yeah. So last bit of feedback, Tom Pack sent us a couple videos that he spliced because they were so long, and a lot of talk in these videos. And as he mentioned, we've brushed on these topics sort of here or there over the years, but he sort of suggested, it'd be good to sort of just focus on this as a whole. And the videos talk about, and I've seen other videos too. It's funny, another one came. It's funny when you watch a video on TikTok and you just watch one, all of a sudden all that stuff starts. If you watch it for long, they feed you other things related to that. That's the way the system works. I ended up watching a video the other day on the town of Lahaina in Maui, which burned down tragically, and I just wanted to watch it because we had traveled there. Well, guess what? Now all of my videos are about Maui, like as if I was going to travel there. I would love to, but
sure,
that's what every video is. So I also started getting a lot of videos because Tom Pack shared a video that talked about the regression on education that is being tied to technology, right? Like if I'm going to just the heavy reliance on Chromebooks, computers, iPads is what is a major factor in these scores. And I ended up watching another video, and there's this guy talking about how for the first time we have a generation that is not going to be more intelligent than the past generations. Like every generation has grown more intelligent on these tests. And they say mainly it's because schooling is improving, people go to school longer, and that sort of thing. Well, this generation is regressing, and they think it's because of this crutch of technology. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know, after a few days of being able to look this up, I looked up a few things, what your thoughts are on this, on the quote unquote crutch of technology, and any tips you may have for parents or whatever.
So first off, thank you, Tom, for that. You know that they're saying the part out loud that we've kind of seen this coming for a while. I certainly think COVID sort of sped the process up, but even before COVID, you know, the notion that a district they had to sell themselves, and one of the selling points was we're going one to one. That was, you know, and one to
Yeah.
one meaning, you know, each kid has a device. And, you know, all this has done, there's been some positives. I don't want to say all that is done, but I'm going to focus on the negative because I think there has been more negative than positive. It has made students the things that we complain about the most as educators. It's given them that it's almost like we have forfeited it over like doing a pyromaniac like matches or something like that. We've just sort of handed them devices. You know, we've schools are, you know, there's laws being pushed in Michigan to take away phones out of the classroom altogether, but we're handing them these devices. They're much more tech savvy than we are, and you know, you and I are in that generation. We're sort of in the middle, but they know how to get around a lot of things. So we're handing them these devices, which provide enormous amounts of distractions. Number one, like, you know, I think about myself in those grades. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. If you're telling me I have access right now to sports news and I can just get it at my device and nobody's going to know that it wouldn't have been good for me in school. So you have that aspect of it. You know, we've talked about before. I don't want to repeat myself, but just really quickly, the art of writing or the act of writing, it provides or some sort of, it's a much more beneficial process to processing and maintaining information than typing. You know, and I even think of my really good classes. I was thinking about it today. They were taking notes. I just this brief note taking session today, and I'm just hearing students typing away. And I just kind of asked myself, is this the way? You know, there's so many other ways. The screen fatigue that, you know, we've heard about. You know, you and I have discussed that social skills are eroding. I think this furthers that. So all of these things on top of test scores, which obviously are so important, you know, you have all of these things factoring in. And I just think in general, the balance weighs negative. I wonder when the first school district to say we're breaking away from the technologies, when that's going to start to be a selling point to recruit people to come to the district.
Well, and very good point. I'll go over what I have in a second, but as you finish with that note, I almost say the problem with that is what are we pushing now? We're pushing AI, which is even more tech on
Sure.
top of the tech. It's like, not only are you going to use the tech, guess what? You don't even really have to do the work on the tech. Just throw some stuff in there, and the tech will kick it out to you. So it's like this is extending the problem. Okay, and
It's really, if you don't mind me interrupting for just a second, we're using, and there's Dennis in case
hey, Dennis.
anybody's watching. We're using in our district an AI platform, which, if you remember correctly before, Mike, we always said that Cliff Notes not good, right?
Yes.
And now it's like we've just sort of forfeited that over because
We,
we
we are trying to teach that it's there and responsibly use it. I will say that that's the
oh,
positive
of
for it,
course,
and it
sure,
does,
sure. I'm glad you clarified that.
it's not like, oh, here, do all the work for me. It's like, oh, hey, how can I get to this final step of what I want to do by using this? I get this. So I have in my notes here in my pen and paper notebook that we both use for these shows. You know, it all comes down to a tech balance. I think of days like when apps drop or the Wi-Fi drops. It's almost like the it's like a train coming to a screeching halt, right? And pulling the brakes. But 10, 15 years ago, we would have been fine, other than taking attendance. We would have been
Sure.
fine with the Wi-Fi going down. Your day would have gone on as normal,
Yeah.
unless you were planning to stream someone in or something. So I just think of like what that does, even at its base, the value of pen and paper. You mentioned it, the value of writing stuff down. I was in a meeting the other day with somebody, and I knew I had written down like an exact day. I took note. I didn't like dictate the whole phone call, but I put some notes down that, hey, I talked to this person on this date. I went right back into my notebook. I go, oh yeah, here's the date that I talked to them on, you know, and this and that. Um, and you think about like I see people now buying dumb phones, like they want to be disconnected, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
also think, and I'm very for, and again, I'm not criticize, and I will never criticize anyone's parenting at all. My
Sure.
wife babysits a kid. My nephew's very young. I'm so thankful the iPad was not released until my kids were into their late elementary years. I mean, I could look up the year exact, but they were not given an iPad at like 4 or 3 to like, so I could just go and do what I needed to
Sure.
do. I read to my kids. My wife and I read to my kids. My wife, bless her soul, she had this craft station. I had nothing to do with that. I hated, and she would do these crafts with them, hands-on stuff. Um, and an iPad eventually became part of the house, but there was only one, and it was never, oh, we're going to dinner. Here's an iPad. Let it keep you entertained. When we went to dinner out somewhere, it was the best you were going to get was the little game at Cracker Barrel. We were going to talk, this
Sure.
and that. You know what I mean? And the generations that have come up and we quote unquote they have a name, right? They're called iPad kids, right?
Sure.
And I see it. I see it with this kid that's baby that like they lose their minds. Like
Yeah.
and I'm so glad, and I think that's part of this problem. Like this is expected. This is expected that like no, we're not just going to sit at a table and talk at dinner, or no, I'm going to be entertained by just maybe there's a TV on in there or something like that. It's that people bring these tablets in and it's just expected life. They don't interact. They don't have the social skills, which then draws on every other skill. And I'm not, again, I get it. It's a
Right.
different
Right.
era. It was there. It was used. I'm just glad as a parent that I didn't have to deal with it. And I remember Steve Jobs famously said, right, he wasn't going to give his kids one
No,
before
and
he passed away.
I think about, one of my favorite authors, a guy named Scott Galloway, very interesting guy, just talking about how young men are just unable to talk to girls anymore. Like this is a part of it. It's not the sole part, but it is certainly a part. So you think about what that has contributed to young men, young ladies, and again, now I'm sort of branching off into technology, but I think schools sort of forfeited and we've said you win. Um, young ladies and anxiety increases and things like that. All of this stuff is contributing, and you just wonder when's it going to come to that screeching halt and we sort of swing back. And again, there's got to be a good middle ground for this. You certainly don't, we can't turn toothpaste, not going back in, so to speak. We're not going backwards. At the same time, this is certainly not the answer. And I'm so glad Tom sent that, because Tom, you picked our education topic this week, and this is a good, very, very good one.
If I could just give tips to new parents, um, the easiest thing that you can do is read to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Books are cheap. They're those easy little books, those step one level readers. You can go to the library and they're free. And what it can do for vocabulary and social skills. And if the people that are going to succeed in this era of new tech and everything will be the people that are literate, whether it be through, I don't care how you do it, but you're going to have to be literate. And the easiest way is to read at a young age and let them enjoy reading, let them pick the books. If they want the same book 8 nights in a row, read it 8 nights in a row. There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
sure.
Again, I'm no parent expert, but that's an easy one. And the kids that read a lot still at school, they love physical books. So don't think it has to be on an iPad or an interactive thing.
Sure.
And use your voice, make kids laugh. It's a really easy tip. So,
Yeah,
but Tom Pack, great input and great feedback. We always
absolutely.
and another great comic, a great not comic but
Yeah, he
article.
did. He
Sorry.
did. It was comical. Yeah, that he
Yep.
did a really
He
good job.
did a really good job. All right. So here's what we do. We're talking overrated, underrated. I went back and looked in the show notes because I didn't want to repeat something. And I noticed that back in 24, right around this time, we did in and out
Hmm.
2024. We skipped it and messed up last year because I think it was something we wanted to do in this segment at the start of every year. All right. So we did it in 24. We took 25 off, or we honestly didn't remember it, but I'm bringing it back. So for our overrated, underrated, it's more of in and out 2026. You want to start with what's out or in? You want to Let's end on a positive note, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, just like
So let's go
usual.
with
Let's go out.
out. Let's
Sure.
go
Right.
out. So what do you have for out? This is like this. Now I don't know how you did it. I did it in relations to me. I don't care about the general public. I'm not trying to say this has to be
Oh,
out.
I did general. I did
Okay,
general.
well then that's fine. I mean, in a
Perfect.
way,
Right.
but it's fine because in a way it can apply to the general public. If people, who cares what we think, right?
Yeah.
But so what do you got as out in 2026?
I out is 6-7. That
Oh,
needs to
okay.
go. I
Were you
appreciate
a
it.
big, did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
No, I didn't dislike it either, but it got, I went to a Piston game early in the year, late October, and I thought it was just a kids thing. And to the kids' credit, they I feel like they just every time they brought it up and I was kind of curious about it at first, they kind of laughed at me. We got one over on the boomers or whatever, and but at a certain point now at the Piston game, they showed everybody on the big screen. There's 80-year-old people doing this, so it's fine. It's not. I'm not offended by it or anything like that. It's old. So this bit has got to go. So my out is 6-7.
And I think it is going on the way out because now us Gen Xers and Boomers are doing it, so it's definitely on the
Yeah,
way out.
right,
Say
right.
it didn't bother me, and I don't think we ever really hit it that much at the high school. I'm sure the middle school and upper elementaries will tell us differently. But I thought it was always funny, like in the basketball games when the score would hit 67 and all these people would.
Mike, it's just that it never you never realize how much this number comes up.
I know, like
Uh,
there's a holding call in the college
yeah,
championship game,
right,
67 with
right.
the hold. So I had three things because, like I said, and this could be for people in general too. I got um, some of these are going to line up with my ends. So diet pop, limiting that. I'm trying to limit not just pop, I don't drink regular pop. I'm trying to cut back on the diet pop as well. Doom scrolling / embarrassing updates from Apple on Sundays with my screen time. I want to get that. I don't even want to talk about what that number is. I want to get that number down, and then unhealthy potato chips / snacks. So that's my out in 2026, and I've been pretty good. I've been drinking. I try to limit myself to one diet pop a day, like with a meal. The rest is water or
Okay.
black coffee. So those are my outs. What do you have as in 26?
My in, my in is going to be a Pistons championship. They're
Oh,
gonna they're gonna
nice.
get the title. That's my
So
in.
you're riding high now. Now they play a lot of Western Conference games coming up.
They do a tough schedule to close out the month of January. They get some of the, and those are always tough games. But I'm arguing with my friends a lot. Antoine's listening right now, kind of rolling his eyes. I do think they need. I think they're one player away. It could be a minor thing they have. I'm not going to geek out on what the trade exception is, but they have this trade exception, so they could probably get a good role player like they did a year ago. But man, I'm all in. I'm not patient. And by the way, it's been 18 years since they were on this level where you thought they have a chance to win a championship. Obviously, it's been 22 since they won one. My in is I think they could do it this year.
Yeah, 18. Nate's
And you
you're
and
Nate
I
with
have
it.
talked about this plenty of times. We talked about it with the Lions 2 years ago. There's no process
Don't wait.
anymore.
No, don't wait
No
around.
step by step. Don't wait around.
I mean, you don't think Buffalo's kicking themselves right now?
Right.
Like
Injuries.
every NFL team should be kicking themselves when you look at the Final Four and you look at the two in the AFC for sure, or even like see, no one came in thinking Seattle was going to win a Super Bowl.
No, and Mike, again, you and I discussed this 2 years ago when the Lions had that 24-7 lead. And again, the window's not necessarily closed. It might be. We don't know. We hope it's not closed,
No,
but it's
well,
certainly
the
not as
window's
open as it
open,
was.
but
Yeah,
it's not a process. It's not slide it open a little one year and then a little. That's not the way it
no.
works.
And the 1980s Pistons, they took a step-by-step approach. Till they finally got there. That's done. It's
Ask Joe Burrow how sliding that window open is
exactly,
going.
exactly.
My ins, drinking more water, lines up with the pop. Daily to-do lists. I'm doing it. I got it, and I got like a little Padfolio notebook, and I do it. I set it up either
Awesome.
very early in the morning. I've been doing. Chloe turned me on to that. She said that some author she read that, and the tip was always put more on it than you think you can accomplish.
Hmm.
Because then you'll end up getting more done. I guess it's pretty simple. And then photography. Like I said, this weather is not helping with my goals of getting out to take a lot of pictures. But again, that's in for me photography. So in daily to-do lists, photography, and drinking more water. Pass the mic, listeners. We'd like to know and love to know what your in and outs for 226, whether they be for you or whether they be for everyone around you. How are the roads?
Outstanding, Mike. That's a
Asking how
good
the
one.
roads
That's
are.
a really that's a really good one. Your self improvement's admirable.
The daily to do list. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so far it's been good. I put stuff at work, and I've been getting a lot more done. All kidding aside, at work too. So,
yeah,
hot mic take. You said you were building up to this a little bit. What do you got this week?
yeah. And you know the story. I already told you. So last week, my hot mic was about the song "Against the Wind," which my obviously my mom and stepdad commented on. amongst others. Um, and I mentioned last week a person that I dated at the time, and now I understand a little bit better. Her name was Lisa. And I did the math in my head. I have not seen Lisa. I had not seen Lisa since 2003, to the best of my knowledge. I cannot remember seeing her. So our show came out Friday morning, right?
As always,
January
12:01
16th.
Eastern
Yeah.
Standard Time.
Driving to work at roughly 7 in the morning. And there's a car in a ditch. And I'm
Yes.
going to say to the listener right now, this is, again, a teaser here. Guess who was in said ditch? Pulled over
It
to help
was,
the person out. It was
yeah,
Lisa.
amazing. This is like an episode of I don't know. I don't even know some of these shows where stuff just happens. What was that show with Scott Bakula where he went back in
Oh,
time?
Quantum Leap, great show. I love
He
Quantum Leap.
just appeared in the right places.
Yeah, and I talked to her for a minute. Didn't have much time to talk to her. I didn't bring up the podcast 'cause I thought that'd be kind of weird, but yeah, I said Lisa, and she said Mike, and we talked for a minute. I said,
What are
you
the
okay?
odds?
And yeah, I cannot believe it. It was just like I'm like, man, I just talked about you yesterday, and here you are. So, I'm sorry, Dennis is causing a ruckus here. I'm
Oh
sort
my
of
goodness.
thought but anyway, yeah, that's my hot mic take. I ran into the very person that I spoke about last week's hot mic and had not seen. I've seen one time in 25 years, but had not seen her since 2003. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
Mike.
We got some. Is the cat destroying the house?
Something is amiss here. Oh, he's just okay. He's all right. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. I spent some time over the last couple of weeks streaming on Netflix. Do you have Netflix?
I do.
Did you watch The Beast in Me with Claire Danes?
I did not. You mentioned this. I'm big fan
Yeah.
of Claire
So
Danes,
did
but I didn't.
and you did, but you did watch Homeland. Did you watch all of
I
Homeland?
watched some of it. Rocky was a big fan. I watched it sporadically over the years. Every episode was it was intriguing, and it's one that I really wish I could just sit down and watch through
Yeah.
now, and
So I
probably will at
finished
some
the Beast.
point.
I finished the Beast in Me. It was 8 episodes, an hour long, and I didn't binge it all. I took my time through it. Pretty good. A little. I mean, it was out there a little bit, but Claire. I always like Claire Danes. She's really good. And I almost feel like, and she's like, I think she's a little younger than us, or she might be around your age.
I think she's about my age, yeah.
She doesn't feel like her. She's very natural looking in all these roles. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
She's accepting of her age and who she. And I think she's a beautiful woman, nice lady. And she doesn't like try to over like. She had a rough life in this show, and she has no problem looking like this. But that's neither here nor there. My point is, I'm thinking of like, okay, what comes to watch next? And I talked about some of my forensic files, and I saw that like some of these shows that I've watched before, you can go back and watch. Like, and we've talked about this too, like The Wire. The Pit is new, and I don't. And I told the Ren Dog, I almost want to wait till they're all done instead of each week because I sort of like watching them because it's supposed to be 1 hour after the other. It almost works better that way. My question to you is: do you often go back? Have you ever gone back and watched an old series or old show that you've watched before, or do you
Yes.
often you've done that? Are you more
Yes.
likely to do that or an old movie that you've watched before? Which are you more likely to do?
Just an old movie, just because you're not, it's not as much of a
It's
commitment.
not as intense. What shows have been rewatch worthy for you? Because I'm debating about either going back and watching Lost again, which my wife is totally against. She hated it the way it ended. We watched it the whole way through, or possibly The West Wing. I saw that popped up on my, and I really like The West Wing. That's a long series. What have you gone back and rewatched?
I watched, no joke. It's weird because I don't watch. I watched the Netflix series Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay.
But I watch all the old episodes still, and in fact, I watched one yesterday, as a matter of fact, where they actually I hadn't watched this one. I watched them all the way through again. Not like the real early years. I sort of bypassed those because they just look so old. But they actually caught a guy, I believe, in 2020 that kind of
Wait, so they
meets
have the old ones back with Robert Stack on? Like I
Oh,
know
they
they
have
did the
those.
new.
Oh, they have all these. And in fact, if you with Comcast, you say Unsolved Mysteries in your phone. There's an Unsolved Mysteries channel.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
but I watched the on demand. Dennis Farina came back. He's an actor. He
Rest
came
in
back.
peace.
Yeah. Oh, is he passed too?
Hmm.
I didn't know that. He came
Yeah.
back and did Unsolved Mysteries about 10, 15 years ago, and they did some episodes. And you look at the dates on Xfinity, and they're like 2019 and 2020 of these old ones. I think because they updated them, with regard to, DNA when the show started, DNA wasn't even, nobody knew what it was, and that, so I think there's so many updates that came about. So that's one. I mentioned this before. I watched Frasier multiple times. It's just
Really?
such a
That's an
it's such a
interesting
deep.
one.
Oh, I love it. I think it's such a very while it's a comedy, it's still one that I watch through. I'll watch every episode of Seinfeld, but not watching it back through. And even though it's my favorite comedy show of all time, Frasier is one. I'm trying to think of Criminal Minds. So there are some shows I do.
Yeah, I did
Uh,
watch that, but I never watched it all the way through when it was
yeah, you
live.
stopped. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then I ended up eventually, but I can't tell you if I got all the way through, but I never watched The West Wing when it was on because I thought, this is a dorky
Right.
show,
Right.
and then I did stream it all once at one point, and man, it was so good, so good, even all the way at the end when it was sort of like, a little more Jimmy Smits and that sort of thing. Um, uh, the character, the great actors and characters. And Lost, I think I want to go back because I watched when it was on TV, and I would like to maybe go back and watch where I have the ability to stream because it's a deep show, and I'd almost have my iPad next to me and pull up the Wikipedia summaries of the articles to sort of help me get through. I definitely sound like a boomer now.
Absolutely. Right.
But I was just curious, like, because in all honesty, there's not much live TV that I watch that's like lo- other than sports. And then even like recording live TV, like the only thing that I'm recording right now is FBI. We're down to just one. Remember, we used to like our FBI.
Yeah, I could not get into any of the other ones of that
You don't
show.
like the original? I like the original. That's how I
I
started.
don't. And maybe that's one I'd pick up and watch because I love the FBI Most Wanted.
I love the one the most wanted. And that man, that guy died. I mean, another man. We're bringing up a lot of dead people again this week, but I'm just curious what people do if And here's what I think too. Like, what's funny is we talk about technology. The next like my kids are like Nate when he's even home watches everything on his computer
Yeah.
on his like on his small screen.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
how that like other than like when we watched some of the football games together when he goes into his room and he streams whatever on his computer because that's what he does at school. The TV industry might be what's next. That's what the next generation is going to kill. They don't even want TVs.
No, you're right. It's
They
funny
don't want to be
because
shackled to it.
no, Mike, it's so interesting because I remember my kids were a little bit younger. I'm not gonna say to fight over the TV if I wanted to watch a Piston game or something like that, but I now it's not even a thing. I can just watch any
No,
game I want to. So
like they're going to look back at our generation and be like, "Why did you guys care about a 90-inch tele? Like, why did you want this? Why do you want to?"
right.
Like, why wouldn't you just want something portable that you could take wherever you are and stream whatever you want? No, really. Like, I think
Oh
like
yeah,
this,
you're
it,
right, 100%.
and that's probably why TVs are so cheap because like with each generation, like we have a generation of where you have like we used to, oh, I want this many and this many, and I just think which is fine. And I don't consume programs on my phone. I have on my iPad, I will on my laptop, but I I'll stream most of my stuff on my TV up here. Like I still
Hmm.
want to watch it on the TV, but it's just an interesting thing. So, all right. We talked earlier in the show who we wanted to win, right? That we mentioned like who we wanted to win.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win LA at Seattle?
Again, I'm pulling for Stafford, not like Kelly Warren, but I am pulling for him. But I think Seattle just looks like that they're on a mission right now, so I'm going Seattle in that game now. Even though I had originally picked the Rams, I just watching Seattle, they are dominating right now. So and they're at home, so I'm going
Yeah,
Seattle.
they're at home, and I think I just think the plus they've played one less game. The Rams had a tough wild card round against
Yeah,
Carolina. They had a very tough game in Chicago in the cold. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, yes, and really think about that game last week. Seattle could pull their foot off the gas a little bit in the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? They weren't playing down to the last minute or overtime. So
right,
I agree with you,
right.
Seattle. I'm going to surprise some people. I think Denver is going to win with the backup quarterback. I'm still not
Really?
sold on New England. They should have thumped Houston with all those turnovers. They didn't. Houston hung around a little bit. I think I think the Denver Magic playing in Denver's hard too. It's an added step of playing up at Mile High Stadium, especially later in the season. And that Denver defense is pretty good. And I'm just not sold totally on the New England. It's an upset pick. I'm not like bet the house
Sure.
on it, but I think Denver has a shot even with the backup.
And
I don't think Bo Nix is that great, to be honest. So
they've been so dominant at home now. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know what? I'm going to look this up. New England hasn't lost a road game all year, have they?
I don't think so. I know Pittsburgh beat them in New England. I think Buffalo beat them there. I forget what their other loss was.
Correct. I'm looking at it right now. 8-0. Yeah, I don't know where I heard that, but I heard it. So something's got to give here, right? One team's 8-1, one team's 8-0. But I don't think the Broncos can overcome that. So I'm going to pick the Patriots, and we're going to get a Mike's as coaches in the Super Bowl. Either way, we both have Seattle winning. Assuming that happens, we have a rematch of Super Bowls in the last 10,
Well,
15 years.
I'm gonna put this out here right now. Commissioner Roger Goodell, and we'll have to send him a link to this episode. If Seattle and New England wins, I think we need to have press credentials and be flown out to San
Absolutely.
Francisco.
Let's make that happen.
It has to. I mean, what other podcasters are out there when we'd have to have these two guys on? So I'll send Roger Goodell the link, and maybe you and I will be out in San Francisco.
And Quentin Hines has his, we both have connections to him.
We'll
you
drop
really
his
do.
name.
He can, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. But when we publish this episode, I'll send a link to the Commissioner Goodell, and nice man, outstanding gentleman, runs a great league. We would love to have some credentials and airfare and lodging. We don't need like the Ritz-Carlton San Francisco.
No, we're good, man.
We'd be happy with a Holiday Inn Express, Santa Clara.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in, so let's do it.
All right, there we go. All right, everybody, have a great week, and we will see you next week.